Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome to ETH Talk, your weekly look at the markets in ETH Online. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do as the extra commodity this week. Just haven't really gotten any ideas, so if you have something you want me to check during ETH Talk, feel free to post that in the comments or on Twitter. I am at delonewolf1. I've been using Twitter a little bit more just to ask questions, see if I can get some ideas and inspiration from there. So yeah, you can always follow me there. It's at delonewolf1 because someone had already taken the handle at delonewolf somehow, and well, I had to take another one, but you'll recognize it's me once you search for it. Anyways, we are here for the market, so let's get started. As always, we'll start off with plex, writing down 55 seconds. Let's have a look here. 747, 749 million. Yeah, that's definitely up. Buyers 734. Let's have a look here at the price. Yeah, clearly it broke 740 and it's still on the way up. Some people are trying to get rid of decent amounts here. 7, 14, 22, 12. Those are decent amounts, but look at the demand numbers. 18, 22, 50, 65 are being bought at 733 million ISK. So yeah, the demand is definitely still here, even at these prices. I was hoping that it would slow down right here at the tail end of this 6-month chart, where we'd be pretty close to 730, something like that. Unfortunately, plexes have already taken back to the skies, and so yeah, the upward trend that's been going on for more than a year straight now, it is still here. There is still no break in this trend, and it's just pretty expensive. You need to spend quite a little bit of in-game time if you want to plex your account at the moment. But overall, I think, yeah, over here, you know, this was pretty damn steep. Let me see here if I can go for the 1-month chart. That was just at the tail end of that. So maybe 1.5 months ago, this was pretty steep, and this is pretty weird how it actually broke the trend. So I would not be surprised that we're talking about a CCP intervention right here. But as you can see, yeah, plex prices closer to 750 million seems to be what people are willing to pay for, than something like 720 or closer to 700. So personally, I suspect CCP intervention here. No way to be sure at this point. We'll probably hear about that on the next FanFest if it's the case, and otherwise we'll hear otherwise. But yeah, this is pretty damn high. Some people, you know, threads are being started again on the forums about plex prices. Some people have the feeling that plexes are only going up, and I can understand where this comes from. You know, if you look at more than a year of increased prices, this might be something that yeah, that you get the feeling that plex only are go up. But there can always be a pullback, so be a little bit careful. Honestly, I think at some point there is going to be a pullback, just don't know what the trigger for that is going to be. Let's move on to the minerals then. Let's see if these guys have been following suit or not. Tritanium, and let's write down 330. Pretty much flat at 625, which overall is actually not that bad considering how high it's already. It comes from way below 5 ISK, so this is not bad. Let's have a look at the supply demand situation. 72 million, let's say 400 million, 1.3 billion, 2 billion being bought. It's at 615 though. They are decently recent, these big orders here. Again, 1.8 billion, so I'm still seeing more demand than supply. It's going to be interesting to see once the reprocessing changes do hit TQ, how the market is going to react. Is it so that people are actually holding back on some of their raw ore and that this is having an impact on supply? Can we see a glut there? It's still a possibility, I think, but the demand is still eclipsing supply by quite a little bit, and prices are stable. So I do feel that maybe the market is also taking a wait and see approach at this point. Most people knew or have calculated that with the reprocessing changes, minerals are going to go up in price, but it is possible that we've reached this new consensus price that we've reached a market situation where people say, yeah, this is what the price is generally going to be, and so now everybody's got a little bit of a wait and see attitude. People are willing to buy a little bit below this price, but it's not going to go up that steeply, because people are also willing to part with some of their minerals at these prices. It's an interesting situation. Price-wise, it looks balanced. Supply demand, there is still more demand, but I suspect there are enough reserves here to just keep the price stable. Let's have a look at pyrite. Is that one stabilizing? It is finally. Dropped down as low as 1170, so it did go down quite a little bit, and then over here it is going back up. I think maybe 12 ISK is not outside of the possibilities, and if you look here, 1.6 billion units almost being bought, very recent order at 1174. This is definitely going to push the price back up. First big order here, 120 million, well here 90 million as well. But this could actually get bought up pretty easily, and then we're looking at 12 ISK, where we see quite a bit of orders coming in here on the sell order side. So I think, yeah, that pyrite could know a correction back up towards 12 ISK, where it might just be the consensus price, where it will be a little bit more stable. Supply demand, definitely seeing more demand than supply. Look at that huge order coming in. Very recent, at a pretty competitive price of 1174, definitely higher than where the chart has been. So there is some upward potential, but as I've said, it does feel like the market is taking a bit of a wait and see approach. So it might just be that 12 ISK is going to be the limit for some people as well. Let's have a look at the Mexalon chart then. This is flattening out, you know. It went back up towards 49 from 48.60, so it's only a 40 cents increase in price, then dropped back down to 48.60. But you can clearly see 20-day moving average flattening out at around maybe 48.75, something like that. If we look at current prices, 48.69, 47.96. It's a little bit more of a margin, but it's still extremely slim. So I do think that here again we are looking at a decently stable situation. Supply demand, it feels a little bit more in balance here for Mexalon, but I'm seeing many more orders here that are like 10 million and up in units. You're only seeing a few here, 37 million, 21 million, 17 million. So I still feel there's a little bit more demand than supply, even in Mexalon, but we are seeing a stabilization of the price, and it's probably because there are plenty of reserves that can take advantage of any increases in price, and people are generally taking a wait and see approach. If they can still stock up with big orders at a price that they feel is below what's the current consensus price, we will see this demand, but supply, it's just a little bit, we'll see. If I get a great opportunity, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll keep my minerals or even my raw ores and see what the price release gives. Let's have a look here at Isogen then. Isogen, well, going down pretty steeply, starting to hit 126. Let's have a look at that. Actually, already starting to correct back up here, 127, 127.70, which is around here. So yeah, it's just the data point is probably going to bounce off the 128 price mark. Supply demand, this feels much more balanced, except for that one big order of 26 million units. The rest of it seems quite alright. So here again, yeah, I would suspect that Isogen is going to bounce off at the 128 mark, but it's not like it's going to go to the moon either. 128 to 130 ISK, I think a stable price in between there is definitely a possibility. Next up, Noxium. I would call that the transition between high-sec and null-sec minerals right here. Clearly going down for the entire month from 750 to 680. That's a pretty serious decline here. Are we seeing more supply than demand? Not really, if I look at the numbers over here. So yeah, I think that this could be related to people expecting higher yields in null-sec. Let's see if this trend is also here for Megasite. Yeah, clearly going down from 1580 to 1420. It's starting to stabilize here. So I do think that the market is starting to find its price points for minerals in general, but it means apparently higher prices for the high-sec minerals, lower prices for the null-sec minerals. In megasite, supply demand is very difficult to judge because it's usually the sellers that dictate the price. And then let's have a look at the Zydrine chart here again. Try to stabilize at 690, went back down to 610, where it's probably going to be the new price. Yeah, 623, 596 for the buyers. So this will probably bounce off just a little bit, but it does feel like all of these minerals have pretty much found their price points. The big movements have passed, and the trends were pretty clearly up for the cheap minerals and down for the expensive minerals that come from null-sec. Overall, I think this is a pretty interesting market to still keep an eye on, but I do think that everyone has done their calculations and that the market is pretty much right on the money when it comes to where they've gone. So more fight here, also down. It's also a null-sec one, and then stabilizing at 6,400 ISK. So yeah, it's looking, I think, like we'll see some calmer waters for the mineral market in the next few weeks, unless CCP all of a sudden still decides to drop a bombshell on us for the Cryos release. Let's have a look at impact on Tech 1 chips then, under around 11 minutes. And for the Drake here, this is the 1 month charts from 46.5 to 50.5. Yeah, this is still a 4 million variation, almost I'd say 9%, something like that. It's yeah, it's a decent movement, but you can see that the correction did come back, and overall on the 20-day moving average from 48 million to 49 million is not that big of a movement. So I think that this is the process that I described in the previous EVE talks, where people are actually producing a lot of chips because at the moment it's probably going to be a lot cheaper to produce anything in EVE Online compared to what it will be after Cryos, but they're not flooding the market just yet. They're taking a wait and see approach. Once they see an opportunity like Drake's breaking 50 million, supply comes right in, squashes this increase in price, and after that we're back in stable waters. If prices would go back up again, people will bring supply back to the market, but there is really they're just taking it easy and keeping some reserves, I think, for the industry changes. Over here for the Maelstrom, again, took off up to 208 million. Now it's back down to 188. 190 is I think, generally a normal price for the Maelstrom. So yeah, we're definitely back in more normal territory. If you look at the 1 year chart, it went back up, supply came in, and then it corrected right back. If I go for the 1 month chart on how big the variation is, a top of 210 and then a low of 188, that's still within reason, honestly, and we're back on a reasonable price. So I think this is again what happened here. Omen pretty stable, maybe going down a little bit at the tail end, but nothing really drastic to report here. The Rock, yeah, it knew some variation going from 210, which I think on the 3 month chart, yeah, does show that it was a little bit of a spike. Supply came back in, pushed the price back down, and then everything. Actually, if you look at the 3 month chart, it's decently stable at around the 200 million mark for a Rock. So it's really nothing. On this 1 month chart, it does look pretty bad, but if you look where we come from, it's actually overall a stable market where people took the opportunity of an increased price to bring back some extra supply. Next up, the Talos here, again a similar chart here, tried to spike to 77.5 million. People saw this, brought some Talos to the market, comes back down to 75 million is a normal price for the Talos, in my experience. So yeah, this looks like something that I expected. People are producing a lot of Tech 1 stuff, but they're not flooding the market with it. They want to see how the market is actually going to react, or how the industry guys are actually going to react to the Cryos changes. Next up, Tech 2 ships, 1420 for that. And yeah, let's have a look at these trade opportunities. Absolution taking off quite steeply. I do prefer to go on the 6 month chart here. And still going up again. You saw some buying opportunities not that long ago. Breaking the 200 million mark does seem to be something that triggers that Tech 2 market to go up very steeply. Once supply comes back, you know, this is going to drastically go back, but it's one thing that I feel for traders that's very important in this Tech 2 market is keep an eye out for those buy opportunities to make some medium-term or even short-term investments. Here the Astarte is also on a high, so same for the Claymore. Let's have a look here at the Damnation. Part of this, now that I think about this, could be the Alliance Tournament. An Alliance Tournament does mean that people try to pimp out some ships. Command ships could be part of the doctrine. This could be the reason why we see a lot of these having spiked so much. So that's one of those aspects. Keep an eye on the news. You will find opportunities to make some money. It remains a gamble, but having bought some of these low-end or lower priced command chips in expectation of the Alliance Tournament might just have been that winning move if you'd made it. Same here with the EOS. Look at that, pretty nice spike from below 280 to 335, and it's still up there, so people might just be buying EOS's possibly for the Alliance Tournament too. Guardian taking off here again. That's an opportunity that I did tell you guys about several weeks in a row. When it started to go towards 130, it was definitely buy opportunity time, and now you're looking at buy orders of 175, sell orders of 185. Cool 40 million profit even on just filling in the buy order. Could have been made in a matter of a few weeks on the Guardians. I regret not having taken the time to go to Jita and buy some myself, but now that I think about it, this could be an impact of the Alliance Tournament here. Nighthawk also knew a little bit of spike. It's already back down here though, so if it comes closer to 230, you're back in maybe investment opportunity. Sleipnir up as well, and then the Vulture also knew a spike, going back down. Still you had buying opportunities at 220 with a spike to 340. That's pretty big money. This is one thing, honestly, with plexes not doing their seasonal changes anymore. This is something I might personally start to keep an eye on. Tech 2 markets with the Alliance Tournament, could that be a recurring movement that we will see come back? Pretty interesting, something I'll definitely keep at the back of my mind, because I think that there is some opportunity in that. Let's move on to the Tech 3 market, but I'm not expecting anything great here. Look at that Legion, well, breaking 120 million. Obviously it's going to pull back just a little bit from that, but we're still looking at buyers at 118, sellers at 126. Pretty damn cheap. You had a great opportunity to buy some Legions below 120 last week. Next up, the Loki, still in the 125 to 130 band. Oversupply 25.12, nothing like that here. For the Legion 23, 10, 14, there is a big order of 10 here, but it was extremely low, so I would not be surprised that supply, that people say, what the hell, I'm not going to make any Legions anymore, I don't even get 120 million from that, and thus that is a little bit of a reaction. Here Proteus 14, 18, 37, 32, still way oversupplied. Price, well, I don't know, 127, 128, something like that, in the 125 to 130 band, extremely low. Historically speaking, and then the Tengu hanging on at the 130 million, 1226, 5198 Tengus coming in below 130 million. So yeah, oversupplied. It's just the situation for the Tech 3 ships at the moment. I'll have a quick touch at the melted nano ribbons. Unfortunately, those are 3.5 million. Honestly, they're still holding on decently. 3.5 to 4 million is, I think, a normal price for melted nanoreef, so nothing too despairing here just yet. But I still have this investment that I made at, I think, 4.5 million. So I would like to see at some point melted nanoribbons go back up to 5 million. Maybe someone could rig the market for me so that I have a sell opportunity, because that was a bad investment on my part there. I didn't do too much, I didn't invest too much. I escaped something like 200 million or so, so it's not that bad, but it was definitely a wrong one for me to make. And then for the extra ones, I'm going to take another look at the fuels. It's something that I used to do every week, but since not too much has been changing there, I've not really checked that too much. So this 6-month chart, honestly, it's gone up in price. I think this is in response to the easier time people will have of putting down POSes in HiSec. You no longer need the rep grind, but people have said, okay, 18,000 for a fuel block seems to be the new price. And again, same with the mineral market. It looks like the market has made its move. The uptrend in the fuel blocks has passed, and right now we're back in much more stable territory. Caldari fuel blocks on the 6 month going from 17k to again 18 to 18.5k. Caldari fuel blocks have always been a little bit more expensive than the other ones because Caldari is the most popular race, and it gets some pretty good bosses I think as well. So yeah, they're used quite a little bit more compared to something like the Minmatar ones. Galente fuel blocks here also from 14k, which was where the price had been stable for months and months, so I stopped checking the fuel blocks every week. Went up to 16.5k, hanging at around 16k at the moment. So yeah, this is just the Cryos release talking here, but we're back already at a much more stable market. And then Minmatar from 14k to 16, 15k, something like that. Again, yeah, up a little bit, but nothing too drastic to report. Interesting, some data points up to 18.5k here. So this is quite a wavy chart. This probably has some meaning to people that know a lot more about economics than I do. But overall, the trend has been up to like May or something like that, and after that it's just holding on around the 16k mark. So this is definitely a flat part here with an increased part here. We've seen that in all of the fuel blocks. So yeah, just logical response, and it's not that bad news for me personally, as in Solitude I do make my own Galente fuel blocks. Yeah, just having a little bit of decently passive income. I mean, it's PI with some ice mining. So it's for a large part it is passive. This will probably have pulled up the PI stuff as well for fuel blocks, maybe a little bit. In general, this is pretty good for me because this is just more ISK for not a lot of time invested. I do like to make the fuel blocks myself, either to sell or for my own boss. And yeah, it's still a stable market. The changes in ice have not caused the price to become incredibly high. It's all pretty damn stable. It's a natural response to the changes coming in Cryos. Anyways, that's it for this EVE Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.